This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
The backyard of Ruth and David Spaulding's Fort Lauderdale home borders a 180-acre state park. For years, they'd enjoyed watching the wild animals that flocked to the park. But the Spauldings never expected that one would become a house guest.
Look, he's carrying it. He picks him up in his front paws.
That's why we find a lot of mammals down there that we can't.
Don't worry about it. They don't eat much. We're kind of allowed to come on. Come on, let's go back. Read paper and worry about something else.
Ruth and I were sitting in the living room here. She said, I heard something strange out back. Maybe you better see what it is. This was at 10:30 at night, and it was very, very dark. So I turned on a flashlight, and there was a beautiful gold snake that was wrapped about 5 times around a raccoon that he had just killed. I was very startled. I mean, this was something different from the other animals.
I saw with my own eyes. Now, where the heck? What? It was right.
She came out there with me just in time to see the tail of the snake disappear under the house. Ruth called 911, and the police said they don't handle snakes.
The Spauldings had no idea how big the problem was, but fearing it could be dangerous, they warned their nearest neighbors.
The neighbors next door, the Spauldings, had called us and warned us that they had spotted a snake in their backyard the night before.
They said they saw a huge snake eating a 30-pound raccoon. We automatically feared for our children, because we had a child that's smaller than what that snake was eating.
Not only small children were at risk.
She said, we have some news for you. And I said, what kind of? She said, there's a snake in the backyard, in our backyard. I went with Kelly out in the back. Every time he had to go out, I put him on a lead, and I took him out in the backyard. I didn't want the snake to get my dog.
Until they could find someone to help them with their unwanted house guest, the Spauldings built an elaborate trap designed to keep the snake contained under the house.
We felt that he couldn't bother anyone else, but we did find one morning that he had broken out through it at a different point and was probably into the park after raccoons.
I walked into the park office, and there was a message there for me that read more or less, have you seen any large snakes at the north end of the park? I more or less took it, you know, with a grain of salt, you know, yes, maybe, maybe not. We have snakes all over the park. Large snakes, what's large? As time went on, they did show us. When we saw the snakeskin, that made us believers.
We got the name Todd Hardwick from the Science Museum, and we did wonder about the name.
Pesky critters. We're nuisance wildlife trappers when animals, primarily in an urban situation, get into a conflict with the homeowners. I am hired to go out and solve the conflict, and it's our policy here to always solve the conflict by taking the animal alive and relocating it to a better environment. We handle everything from buffalo all the way down to possums, bobcats, and everything else. We don't do dogs and cats, but that's about the only thing we wouldn't do.
Todd went to the Spauldings' house to see if this was just another big snake story with Tom McClellan, an expert in snakes.
We went out the backyard and we saw a trap. It was set up to catch the snake. It was humorous. It was made out of 3/8" plywood, and for a snake of this size, just crawling in there and expanding its coils would have blown the sides right out of the cage. The size of the scales in the middle of the back gave me an idea. It was definitely in excess of 18 feet. And by the pattern that was on it, I knew it was a reticulated python. And I told this to Todd, and he said, well, you know, what are reticulated pythons like? And I said, they're usually nasty.
My heart began to race, and I began to have many, many thoughts racing through my mind as to what was going to unfold that day and in the following days.
It's a fairly active tunnel under here.
Yeah, what's it look like?
Well, it's really smooth. Looks like she's been coming through here on a very regular basis.
It was a small chamber, and there was another hole going under another floor joist into another area. So rather than waste time digging into this area when we just have to dig into another one, we examined some blueprints of the house that the Spauldings happened to have and decided that around the corner was the best place to dig because it would put us in the largest chamber underneath the house and give us access to all the other individual areas.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead down in and see what I can see. Take it easy.
I was aware of the size of the snake. Not many people were. To have two people go under the house and get in that enclosed area with a huge snake seemed to me to be a very unwise thing to do.
Our plan at that point was to go under the house, assess the situation, determine where the snake might be, but not confront it.
Wow. We had no idea what was going on under there. We were very concerned and felt that we were responsible having let these fellows go under.
Look at this hole over here, Tom. Looks like he comes out and heads in your direction.
I got a fresh hole right next to me.
I tell you what,
There's a musk that snakes give off, a scent, and it was very strong. You could smell the snake in the hole.
I think we should leave for today now that we know where she is, because we're not going to be able to handle this by ourselves.
To go under the house and try and handle that animal alone would be idiotic, and two would be a little less idiotic, but still not smart.
I look worried. She's in there, all right.
Well, we were greatly relieved to see them come out, I can tell you.
Tom and Todd had gotten an idea how big this problem was.
They said they were going to get more help and come back the next day.
That ought to hold until tomorrow morning. Make tracks before rush hour.
When we continue.
I was terrified of the thought that the second Tom's head appeared in that chamber, it would instinctively strike at him and he would take a strike in the face or in the throat.
The day after their scout trip, Todd and Tom returned with reinforcements. Snake hunters Joe Wasilewski and Felix Velez.
Of course you were afraid. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But fear is part of it. We like adrenaline, we like excitement, something different.
It's coming in.
Let's get some of the equipment.
Since we clearly did not know what would happen, we wanted to be prepared for everything. So we had an excessive amount of equipment.
Okay, you guys move a little bit. Here I come. You guys see anything yet?
All right, Joe.
That was the worst part of the whole day. Getting in that little hole.
There you go.
Being in little closed places drive me crazy. I just felt this whole house collapsing in on me.
Yeah, that's the hole.
We approached the hole where we thought the snake was, and at that point we decided that we should take rocks and block off all these other holes of escape. And also at that point, Tom and Felix began to enlarge the snake's entry into the second chamber.
Well, what do you think, Tom? Big enough? You gonna hit it?
I had a lot of really terrible thoughts. I was terrified of the thought that the second Tom's head appeared in that chamber, that if the snake were laying close, it would instinctively strike at him and he would take a strike in the face or in the throat.
I got a visual. What do you got? It's a retic. How big? Big.
A big snake. It was bigger than I thought it was. I knew it was over 18 feet just from looking at the skin, but you had to take a step back and look at this thing. It was an impressive animal.
You got it?
I immediately realized that the size of this snake and how far we were from the original hole, it was going to be impossible to wrestle that snake into a sleeping bag and drag him back out of that chamber the way we came in.
Well, I'm getting out of here.
So at that point, I suggested that myself and Joe, who was obviously the most claustrophobic at that time, we exit and look into the possibility of coming in from the other side of where the snake was.
You're gonna go over here and get it from the front.
Tom was explaining that he thought he saw light coming in.
I'll show you where that
is.
It's the other hole there, huh?
Yeah.
If it comes at you, let me know. I'll pull you out by the legs, Tom.
You'll be the first one I call. All right, pass me some of that stuff.
Here.
We left Tom and Felix there to keep their eye on the snake, and I was uneasy about that because I was worried that if the snake got hostile towards them, that it was just those two, which we never wanted just two people down there. So when we got out front, I was very anxious to dig that opening as fast as we could. I was extremely nervous, not knowing what was going on down there with those two guys.
It's great.
This is the third hole now. Now, I'm not too thrilled about the first one, less thrilled about the second one, and I damn sure don't want to go in this one.
All right, hang me down a little bit more. All right. Man, I need like one more foot. Can you guys hang me down a little more? Okay, I see her. Can you guys get her to come around to the right a little bit?
And as I was lunging in to get it by the head, it occurred to me that my boots might slip off when these guys went to pull me out, and I would then be virtually tumbling in on the snake's lap. And the snake suddenly turned in a position to come up towards my face. And at that point, I had an opportunity to get the snare around his neck and cinched it up tight.
I got him, pull!
All right, we got you.
He's got it. Go, 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 go.
Okay. Wait, what's the new?
The crowd was screaming. People were tripping on themselves, retreating from where we were. They had been jockeying for position all morning and suddenly realized they didn't want to be up close.
It had undoubtedly either been turned loose or it escaped. It's not the snake's fault for being under that house. The blame for that snake being loose rests solely on the person that either allowed it to escape or turned it loose. That's the person to blame for it.
When it was all over, this snake story had a happy ending for everyone, but especially for Todd and his new roommate, Big Mama, the 21-foot, 250-pound python.
Some of the fellows said they'd never had so much fun in a long time. When you're into snakes, I guess that's really the greatest thing, to be able to go under a house and get one.
If I had one word to sum up the whole thing, I would say great, because I wouldn't have missed this for a world. I couldn't think of any place I would have rather been at that moment than under the house with that snake.
Next.
He was unconscious, and I turned around to the people that were all milling about. They kept yelling at me, "No, it's too late, it's too late, it's gonna blow, get out of there."
Around noon on June 10th, 1988, on a two-lane highway in Northern California, heavy traffic was moving at speeds up to 55 miles an hour. Lana Fox and her 20-year-old daughter, Gina Jackson, were on their way to visit an elderly relative when they noticed a pickup truck behind them.
He kept coming up to our bumper and backing off, coming up to our bumper, backing off. What is he doing?
And he seemed to be in such a hurry, a big hurry. He just kept trying to come around and look and see if he could make it around me. But there was no way.
The driver of the pickup apparently had lost control of his vehicle and crossed over into the oncoming traffic, causing the accident.
I couldn't just keep going and call for help later on. Somebody needed help right then and there. That's when it was happening. You had to do something now.
I checked this man over. He was complaining of neck pain. So I stayed with him as my mom ran on to help in the third car.
Hey, somebody's in there. Come on.
Hey, lady!
Somebody's still in here.
Get out of there, it's gonna blow!
Hey, there's somebody in here.
He was unconscious, and I noticed too, he was huge. I turned around to the people that were all milling about. They kept yelling at me, no, it's too late, it's too late, it's gonna blow, get out of there.
The victim weighed more than twice as much as Lana herself.
Of course, that thought's in my mind, it might blow up. But what are you gonna do? You're just gonna leave this man run away? Your only other choice is to watch this man burn alive. I'm not willing to do that.
Station 76 response.
The fire department was immediately dispatched.
East of Union.
It's a code 3 for head-on collision at Highway 4. The vehicle's on fire.
When reports of an injury accident came in, paramedics were also sent to the scene.
Help me!
Lana managed to drag the victim out of his burning car.
I could feel flames as I was there licking up my leg. It actually burned my shoe and my toe.
Come on, help me!
So I started running up to help my mom as another man who was closer reached her first. It was a real intense situation. I felt a lot of fear.
You can hear the flames popping underneath the car. So we knew that something was going to happen. We just didn't know how much time we had.
Come on.
It was amazing because it was only about 30 seconds from the time we moved him to the time when the car became engulfed in flames.
Michael Bradley had been driving behind the pickup truck just before the accident.
Hey, somebody call the ambulance.
We didn't have anything to cover his wounds with. There was blood just everywhere, just squirting out of this man. He had a horrible wound on his head. And so I covered the wound on his head with my hand and another wound on the side of his neck with my hand. We realized that he couldn't lapse back into unconsciousness. That wouldn't be a good idea, so we just tried to keep him talking and keep him awake.
Highway Patrolman Gary Sutherland was the first officer on the scene.
When I did arrive, the vehicle was already in flames, and had the driver not been removed prior to my arrival, he would most certainly have been killed.
The fire extinguisher in his vehicle could not put out the burning car, but it knocked down the flames from the brush fire creeping toward the victim.
I didn't think he was going to make it. He was in very bad shape.
His pulse was really slow. We just kind of stood by and said, hey, hang in there, guy. You're going to make it. You made it this far. Look what you've been through.
Paramedic Emad Gurgis and his partner treated the victim at the scene.
As we approached the victim, upon our initial assessment and general appearance, he looked like he was going into shock. And if we don't get this patient into a trauma center quickly, then his chances of surviving the injury would be greatly decreased.
I requested the helicopter. It's obviously it'd be best if he be medevaced to John Muir Hospital.
The CHP helicopter arrived at the scene within minutes. With traffic backed up in both directions, it was the only quick way to get the victim the medical attention he desperately needed.
The thought about my perishing in that fire and my daughter watching it happen really did not hit me until it was all over. I was covered in blood. I looked over at her and she was covered in blood. That's when I got a little bit nervous. That's when I thought, oh my God, my daughter, my best friend, could have watched me burn up, could have watched her mother burn alive too, along with this man that we saved.
I don't think she was aware of the heroic deed that she did. I think that she instinctively saw an auto accident, and she was very brave, There was fire there. We all have a fear of fire and what it can do to us. And for her to make that effort with her daughter's assistance to remove that man from a burning vehicle and burning grass without any concern for her own safety is, to me, truly brave.
The 46-year-old man was rushed to the nearest trauma unit with a fractured shoulder, hip, pelvis, and skull, and critical internal injuries for which he underwent immediate surgery. Recently, Lana Fox was awarded a Medal of Valor by the county in recognition of her selfless courage.
I've always looked up to my mom. She's my best friend. I don't know if you'd say she's a hero. I just think she's a helper, a giver. She's always been a giver, not a taker.
I've heard from Jay since the accident several times, which is really nice. They thanked me for helping him out and let me know that life is good for him again. He's with his family and he's happy, very happy to be alive. I don't think I'm a hero. I think I'm a doer. I've always been a doer. That's what I think. I don't know. What's a hero?
Step out of the car, please.